Never let them bring you down, cause then you be on a level. Listen, I'm never giving up. Stay in the ground, don't get too comfortable or too settled. Listen, I'm never giving up. When you hit rock bottom, it's only one way to go. Listen, I'm never giving up. Everybody got problems, how you handle them, no. Yeah, listen.
Hey, I'm John.
I'm Jonathan.
Welcome to the Formula.
What's up? What's up, yo?
Jonathan was good.
Man. Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Shout out to the Lady Saints, Southern Wayne High School, Lady Saints. They had an undefeated regular season.
Nice.
Made it to the second round of the playoffs. Lost by 2. 48-50, man.
Heartbreaking.
Tough.
It was
game.
on like a game winner or something like that.
Yeah, well, they was losing for the most of the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken, and they were losing 48-50 with 5 points seconds left in the game. The other team had the ball, threw the ball in. Southern Wayne intercepted the ball with 5 seconds left. Takes it all the way down, and the young lady took it all the way down, missed the layup at the buzzer. Yeah, that's how they lost, man.
Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. Very proud of the Lady Saints, though, man. That's even no matter what, that's historic. You know, the Lady Saints undefeated season. You don't come across that very often.
That's what's up.
Undefeated season. And they definitely held down Wayne County. I'm sure that the county felt like that they probably was the worst team in the county, but they showed them what it was.
So they were supposed to be the worst team, but then he went undefeated?
Yeah, man. Saint pride, man. That's how we do. That's how we do with them Saints, baby. That Saint pride, man. And shout out to Ben L. Smith, my best friend, Israel Gill. His team is down there. Young lady, his daughter plays on the team. They were 26-2 during the regular season, and they in the third round of the playoffs. They got a really good chance at taking that thing all the way. They got a solid team. Like, they got 7 chicks.
That's a girls' team too?
Yep, girls' team. Yep. Girls' team. Raw, man. His daughter is pretty special. They got some very special young ladies on that team. And then my buddy, you know me, man. I love my high school sports, you know, and I love supporting my friends that have kids playing. So we also have a friend. His daughter plays, and it's funny. It's all girls. His daughter plays ball at Lincoln Charter, and they actually won their game last night as well. So they advanced to the third round of playoffs. So Ben L. Smith will be playing tomorrow night. Lincoln Charter will be playing tomorrow afternoon. So I might have to hit up both of those. They all both away, though. So not a long drive. What's up with you, man?
Not much, just maintaining.
Maintaining. Yeah, man.
Congratulations to those teams, by the way.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
what's up.
Yes, sir. Congratulations, lady. Very proud of you. Keep it going. But we got a good one today.
Yeah. What we getting into?
We got a good one today, man. Like, we can't change the history, but we can learn from it. But we can't learn from it if it's not heard. You know? Greenwood. Does Greenwood ring a bell to anyone? Does Greenwood, the community of Greenwood, does that mean anything to anyone? Most people it don't, because most people haven't heard of it. Most people know of it as the Black Wall Street, but it was the Greenwood community.
Greenwood District.
So, and it was actually coined Black Wall Street by Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington, he visited the town, visited the community, and and he saw thriving black people, thriving businessmen, a thriving community, and he coined it Black Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Black Wall Street was a very successful community. It was the most successful community in in black community in the nation. It was a community that was, of course, built to all black people because of segregation, and they did really well for themselves. But a lot of things transpired, a lot of things happened, and history always repeats itself.
Mm.
So how are we gonna dive into this thing, man?
I mean, where do you want to start?
And we can start everywhere, like.
So most of you know it. Most of you probably heard of the Tulsa massacre.
Mm.
And that's what we're referencing right now, as far as the Greenwood community, Greenwood district, aka Black Wall Street. It was about a 35 block radius,
Mm-hmm.
and just totally destroyed, burned to the ground. May 31st, 1921. So, you want to, do we know the backstory of how or why that happened?
Do we want to talk about that? We definitely got to talk about that.
Yeah, because, well, allegedly.
Well, let's not go there yet.
Okay.
Let's set this up. I did a little bit of research, and I really wanted to know, like, how did Greenwood become Greenwood? What was the history around Tulsa? So, first, there wasn't anyone in Tulsa. So, of course, this is when Americans were pushing the Native Americans away from their homes,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of pushed them into this area.
Mm-hmm.
Way back then, there was actually some black settlers as well, black slaves, or former slaves, and black freemen that actually traveled with the Indians as well, and a lot of them actually settled there in Oklahoma. It wasn't called Oklahoma at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they settled there. Everybody was a big rush. And then they pushed them to that area. And then the government started to allow more settlers to go west, go settle in the Great Frontier, or whatever they call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go west, find your land. So it was a land rush. Everybody's trying to go find the land, but black people had already had like a lot of the land in that area. So when the white people did come in town, they actually started selling there, and then they found that Oklahoma was filled with like oil. Did you read any of that one?
Nah.
So they found that so black people was already there, the Indians was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
The black people was already there. The Native Americans was already there. And I can actually say African American in this case, so they were African Americans. Mm-hmm. Almost. And so they was already there. White people started to settle in there. They found out there was oil there. And of course, they took the oil. They started to mine it. They started to drill, kind of pushed the black people out a little bit. And so the white people had all the businesses. Of course, everything segregated. And so the black people had to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and really make it. And that's what made Black Wall Street, man. They did all this themselves. They pulled themselves up by the bootstraps, and they built this community. And of course, a lot of them worked for the white folk that lived in Tulsa. But they built this community. But there was over, I think they said it was over 11,000 that lived in this community.
Sounds about right.
They had grocery stores, all black because they couldn't go to the white grocery stores, so they had their own grocery stores. They had their own juke joints. They had their own barbershops. They had their own
jewelry
stores. I mean, everything.
Everything you
pharmacy,
needed. Schools, library.
Yeah, yes, they had everything they needed.
Newspapers.
Yep. And newspaper. We can't wait to get to that point. So, but
these are all black owned.
All black owned.
All black owned businesses.
All black owned. All businesses. Of it. So, I mean, it's definitely. They said it had 15 doctor's offices, 2 theaters. I mean, some black neighborhoods don't have a theater in it now. They had 2.
How many hospitals? They had 1 hospital?
They had a hospital. They had over 108 black businesses, 2 black schools. So I think that's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope for them to create that
from the ground up, from scratch.
Up. You know what I mean? So what started the riot? So there was a young man. His name was Dick. What was his name? Dick Rowland. So Dick Rowland. I'll let you get into that. Let's get on what started this thing.
So Dick Rowland, he was a shoe shiner, and he needed to use a restroom. Remember, they were segregated, so there were only certain restrooms that he could use.
And Dick Rowland was 19 years old. He dropped out of school so he can be a shoe shiner. $5 back then was a lot of money for them. So,
and that was a popular job.
Yeah, that was a very popular job
at the time.
So he went into town and shoe shined.
So he got in his elevator. Apparently, there was a female elevator operator who I'm assuming was white.
She was white.
Okay. Just to, give you the backstory.
Right.
So he used the elevator, and then it's like as he's coming out of the elevator, the white female elevator operator, she screams.
So
then he runs out of the elevator and he flees because at the time, right, it's his 1920s, right? We know about the Emmett Till story. You know what I mean? So that's the sentiment. That's the environment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and there's this thing with us today. If you see a little white girl in the elevator, as a black person, you don't go in the elevator.
We'll wait for the next one.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead. We good. No,
right.
No problem.
Right.
We'll wait for the next one.
Right. So, that's what happened. Then rumor went around that he sexually assaulted her, which I don't even think we ever find out if that was true or not, because the very next day he got arrested, and the very next day, that's when the massacre started.
Now, there's a lot of stories around what happened in that elevator. No one knows. Of course, this young lady did not really tell the true story of what happened. Now, that was one story that was floating around in that time. There's also a story that she and Dick was actually dating, and when they was in the elevator, he was going up to the bathroom, whatever, they was in the elevator that was making out, and a white man came in and seen them making out, and the white man, of course, he flipped out, and she was like, because he thought he was harassing her, raping her or whatever, but she was like, no, we're actually dating. But of course, like, that didn't make things even any better, because they did not want
our
people dating each other.
Right.
So Nothing has changed.
And I believe interracial marriage was against the law.
Oh, absolutely.
It was against the law at the
Absolutely,
time. Yeah.
against the law at the time. So they did. So that's another story. And then, of course, they saying that he's the one that actually kind of got upset, went and told the authorities, that type of thing. So there are conflicting stories out there. Either way, maybe they said that maybe they bumped into each other or tripped, and he tripped and as he was getting into the elevator and kind of bumped into her, she kind of freaked out. Like I can believe any of those stories.
Either way, you don't burn down a whole goddamn community over something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't burn down a whole community.
Mm-hmm. But they did see what they did to Emmett Till. See what they did to many people because of something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Karens.
And
that's the thing. Like the Karens don't understand like what like that, and that's another thing. Like if you don't learn about what this stuff and the Karens don't care. The Karens that act like that don't care. They want that kind of stuff to happen to black people. So they don't care. But maybe, just maybe, if you learn about some of this stuff and know the backstory of what happens to black people, maybe you might change the way you act and the way you automatically escalate situations. And that's another, like,
or at least you understand why we move the way we move, why we operate the way we operate.
Right.
But these Karens, don't let me get started on that.
Yeah. So they got him. They took him to jail.
They arrested him. They took him
The next day.
Yep. In front of the courthouse, a crowd had developed. There was a white crowd, of course, and then there were a smaller black crowd.
Well, let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
So they took him to the courthouse because they arrested him. That's where they take the people when they arrest them. I guess they took him to the courthouse. That's where the jail, I guess, right? And then when the white people found out that the cops already actually had him, that's when they congregated in front of the courthouse, ready to lynch him right there. They was ready.
And the black people were trying to protect him from getting lynched.
So while they have him in there, this is a few hours. The black people's back in Greenwood thinking like, what are we going to do? We can't just sit back and let a black man get lynched down here for no reason. And we got to do something. So a group of black men, a lot of veterans, war veterans, went down with their guns, and they kind of went in front of the white people to protect the courthouse. Right. And it's cool. So some of the stuff I read was that the sheriff or whatever that was in there was actually trying to protect Dick Rowland. Like was trying to figure out a way to get him out of the courthouse without the mob.
Right. Without.
So the mob. Right. See, that's another thing. Like, so you trying to get this man out so the mob won't get him, because basically you're not going to do anything if they do. Like they knew they wasn't going to do anything to the mob.
Once the mob got to him, it was going to be a wrap.
Yeah. All right, my hands clean. I'm done. You guys do what you got to do with him.
Right.
So they're just trying to get him out. So they finally did get him out, but no, they didn't get him out first. So you can go ahead with the next part.
So they're in front of the courthouse, and you got the black crowd, the white crowd.
Yep.
Allegedly, things got heated, things escalated, and somebody fired their gun. Now, the white crowd, they had guns too. So in that kind of situation, do you know who shot first? I don't know who.
So what happened was a white man went up to a black guy, a black Army vet, said, "What you doing with that? What you doing with that gun? What you gonna do with that gun, Negro?"
But he didn't say Negro. Just to be clear.
what you doing with that gun, Negro? And the black guy said, if I have to, I'm going to use it. And he said, you ain't going to use, I'm pretty sure they said some words.
Mm-hmm.
And he grabbed the black guy's gun, right? Grabbed the black guy's gun, tried to take it away from him, and the gun went off.
Mm.
So that's how, of course, a gunshot now is
Right. It's
over.
It's mayhem.
It's over. Mayhem. It's over.
But then the black men tried to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the white mob followed them to the Greenwood district,
mm-hmm.
to Black Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started, and then that's when they started
mm-hmm.
just burning the place down.
Yep. And with the research that I did, there was a lot of like jealousy that black people actually built up that community. Like,
oh yeah.
So like it was like this is the opportunity. Like
it was a matter of time. Right. They were going to do what they were going to do regardless.
Right.
Regardless of, they just used this situation, the Dick Rowland situation,
right,
as a means to do what they wanted to do from the get-go.
Right. Yep.
Because we can't have anything.
No, can't have anything.
We can't have anything.
Right. So it's crazy. Like they didn't want us around, and when we did our own thing, they burnt it down.
Right. Right. It's like, they were doing their own thing.
Right.
You wanted segregation, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you got segregation. But even that's not, even you're not satisfied with that, because God forbid a black man, black woman, black family be successful. Mm-hmm. That's a problem for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. That's a problem. So I don't know. I mean, it's just messed up all the way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's messed up all the way around, man. But and what ensued is just pure mayhem, murder.
They went one by one, business by business, by home, by business, by school, by one, broke into these places, looted these places, and then burned it to the ground.
Looting. Y'all started the looting.
Come on, man. Where you think we learned that from? Where you think we got that from? Because we damn sure didn't get it from Africa. We ain't get it from Africa. We didn't bring that wasn't part of our culture back there.
Looting.
Yeah, like come on, man. And then when we protest, you know what I mean?
Right.
But look what y'all did. Mm-hmm. Where you think we got it from? So they were looting, and then just one by one, they were people's homes, people's houses that they literally built from scratch. Like,
you got
this wasn't. There wasn't no white companies coming in doing any construction. Mm-hmm. It wasn't none of that. Like these people built all of this on their own from the ground up. Mm-hmm. And one by one, they were destroying property, looting, and burning it down.
And the worst thing that they did is, of course, when everything's going on, the white police officers, because there was only white police officers, the white police officers actually definitely, of course, sided with the white side, and they started locking black men up. The
governor declared martial law.
Martial law. Yep.
The governor declared martial law. Mm-hmm. The next day.
Yep.
So this is June 1st. Mm-hmm. And then that's when they just started rounding up all the black people, investing all the black people who did not initiate any of this. Mm-hmm. Why would black people burn down their own community? Mm-hmm. Don't make sense.
So they started arresting them also. Of course, there's no one there to hardly anyone there to actually protect the community. So they started burning things down and killing people. I mean, there's a lot. They say up to 300. Of course. So Ah, man.
The official number was
The
36.
official number was 36. Yeah, 36, 37.
Some historians estimate 300 dead.
Right. But
and they estimate 10,000 people homeless.
Mm-hmm. Something we left out, a very important piece of information we left out.
What's that?
When Dick Rowland got arrested, the newspaper, the newspaper actually put in their newspaper a black Negro nabbed or something like that, and they also put in another newspaper so the newspaper wrote in there when they arrested Mr. Rowland said to lynch a Negro tonight, or around. They said something around that in the newspaper.
Because see, I was wondering, because everything happened so fast in a matter of like 3 days.
Right. So
mind you, there's no social media.
Nope.
There's no social media. There's no, there's back then it's probably only radio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know TVs were around back then. It's probably only radio.
Yeah.
But the newspapers,
they incited it.
Right. They instigated.
They incited
because, the next morning, right? The next morning, the papers come out, and that's when they let everybody know, yo, we about to lynch somebody tonight.
Right. So yeah, I totally forgot that part, because that's very important.
Yeah,
that's very important, because that shows systematic, systemic racism.
Which people today really don't understand what we mean by that.
Systemic.
And it's like, and people today go, oh, that happened 100 years ago. No, it's systematic, meaning this stuff is lingering around to this day. To this day, stuff that happened 100 years ago, that same sentiment still stays with us.
Right.
That's what we mean by systematic. It's the newspaper, the courthouse, the police, all working together. All these departments, all these institutions working in unison, working together.
Because they're all, so they're buddies, and all you got buddies here. You only, they only, of course, they only hire people that they know, especially back then. Like a lot of people wasn't hiring. Well, no one black was in that kind of as a officer and
right. How many black judges were there? How many black
all that stuff?
So police officers, sergeants, chiefs.
So this guy, his friend is over here, so of course he got to cover his friend, his neighbor, his. You definitely don't want to take the side of a black person,
right?
In
because
the eyes of a white person.
If you're white and you side with a black person, you're a Negro lover,
right?
And that's punishable by death,
right? So that's the systemic part about it. Like everybody has to take up for everybody in that system and that ecosystem. So yes, there is systemic racism. Like that's the definition of it, because the whole system is corrupt because you're not doing the right thing. You're doing the thing that actually helps you out or helps your friend out or your neighbor. So that stuff, it was, against black people.
Now, there's the airplanes.
Right.
What did you get? Because I got some inconclusive, allegedly they don't know for sure that they know airplanes were there.
Right.
I read that there were eight airplanes that flew that day.
Right.
And allegedly there were men in those airplanes shooting from the airplane and dropping explosives. What kind of explosives?
Yeah.
They might not know exactly, but
so as you said, men was so of course you have young people and even the old that did these documentaries way back in the day that was able to actually access the information. So they have firsthand accounts. You know, some of these people that actually spoke about it were like young kids that was 5 years old. Heard from a young man that was 5 years old. Heard from a young woman that was 5 years old. Now, the one young woman said when they was running down the train tracks that bullets was raining down on them, and she had to jump into a chicken coop.
Mm.
She broke loose from her parents and jumped into a chicken coop that was on the side of the train track.
Mm.
So, if bullets was raining down,
chances are
it's
from an aircraft.
And they did mention, a few of them mentioned that there were airplanes that was manned by local business owners that had airplanes back then, and private businesses that had airplanes that actually did. And you did say that they don't know if it was like bombs actually, but maybe it was something that actually incinerated the fires, because there was literally the white people going around the neighborhood, going into people's houses, lighting their curtains on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I guess curtains was a really big thing now. Like, we don't have curtains. A lot of people don't use curtains anymore. Maybe
they use
why.
blinds. Yeah,
maybe
that's why. Yeah,
but they didn't. Like, they was literally going around one by one, burning these people's houses down, burning the businesses down. So when you see the pictures of the aftermath, there's no way that there wasn't any type of explosives used from something like that. Like, houses was crumbled, like businesses, brick and mortar businesses was crumbled.
Mm-hmm.
You don't kick that down. You just can't kick that down. So, yes, I there's no way that there's no way that they didn't use airplanes.
I'm convinced that they did use airplanes, and they use, because why else would you fly airplanes
right
on that day over Tulsa? Like, you're just not gonna fly an airplane for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna fly an airplane on that day, you're gonna use it to,
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like there were black airplane owners and black pilots. Right. So there was only maybe one actual airport or airfield. I think there was 2 airfields, but one was smaller than the other.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably the bigger airfield. They flew the planes from the bigger airfield because they could fit more planes.
Mm-hmm.
And who else would be, flying those planes, and who else has ownership of that airfield?
Mm-hmm.
And why else would they be flying planes around Tulsa on that day?
Mm-hmm.
If not to drop bombs?
Mm-hmm. But as you stated, man, finally after 17 hours, they finally brought in the National Guard, but all the damage was done.
Oh, yeah.
All the damage was done when they got there. All the damage was done. But they didn't stop them from doing more damage, because the National Guard, they still locked up some black people.
Yeah, that's what they went in for. That's what they went in for.
And sent the white people right on home.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys.
And no one faced any consequences.
This is
no one.
What we're speaking.
No one from the white mob
right.
faced any consequences whatsoever.
This is all facts, guys. This is not opinions. This is not a black. We don't like black people type, or white people type thing. This is facts that people need to know about, because obviously, like, no one know. A lot of people did not know about that until it was on a TV show last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it really is. While I was reading this information, doing this research, it really made me emotional. Like, where's humanity? Where was the one calm person in that group of white people that was like, no, y'all, we can't do this, guys. We can't do this. Let the police handle this. You know they're gonna handle it. Let them handle it. But they have to, thousands of people have to try to. I mean, what are thousands of people gonna do to one black man? I mean, that's what it started with.
Mm.
Thousands of people want to do something to one black. Like you can't do like thousands. All that 1,000 of you can't kill the man.
Right.
like
Right.
like what's the point? Let the police. Like where was the one sane person? Where was it? Where's the police that? Them like we're talking about a different time frame. They did not care about black people at that time anyway. So I don't know why I'm talking about that. Like that they might be like some of the police these days that care, but back then I don't think there was any.
No.
And they couldn't, or they'd be killed as well. But after that, it was over. You know what I mean? So what they said was the reason why they say it was over 300 people killed was one eyewitness account remembered the National Guard bringing truck loads of bodies, all black bodies, to this poppy field, and they basically dug a big hole,
Big pit.
and just
Dumped all the dead
bodies in it. So, and they said it was truckloads. So, I mean,
has to be more than 36.
I don't think 36 bodies need truckloads.
Nah.
I mean, you probably can put. I mean, they didn't care about us, so they can stack. 50 bodies in one back of pickup truck. You know what I mean? Not like they caring about the bodies at that point. They didn't care about them when they was alive. So
right.
So yeah. So after that, not one white person was fined or locked up
or arrested.
Everybody was sent home. Y'all just go home, act like this never happened. And
if anything, they celebrated.
Yeah, and actually a few black people actually got charged and locked up for inciting the riot. Not a white person got locked up.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised to hear that.
Nothing, but a few black people did get locked up, and a lot of black people died. So, yeah.
I want us to build multiple Black Wall Streets. We need to build that up. We need to build that up. We need to rebuild multiple Black Wall Streets.
And these types of instances is where black people actually ask, like, where was our reparations? Where was our reparations when our whole livelihood was taken from us? We built that up. No reparations at all. The government just looked at it, and they didn't even want to acknowledge it. They still don't really want to acknowledge it. They tried to whitewash history. They tried not to let this be, like, it's not in the history books. They also someone actually cut out those headlines. In
the paper?
In the paper. They cut those headlines in the 1930s. Someone cut out the editorials from those volumes from the Tulsa Tribune. The headlines that said, "To lynch a Negro tonight," because they want us to. First of all, don't even know that it existed. Then, if you know about it, they want them to know that, like, the newspaper didn't start it. Like, to really, really get things stirred up.
Sounds like they were trying to erase history.
Yeah, it's the fight of critical race theory. Like, we got to understand, guys. This only happened 100 years ago. So somebody's grandma is still living today that actually, like their parents actually lived through it.
I think one of the survivors is still alive. Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like these parents and these the white these those people, those white people's, their kids are still alive today.
More than likely,
They
yep.
know about this.
Mm-hmm.
They know about this. You know, so so basically, like I thought something was very interesting as well. So like segregation, like really built up Black Wall Street, right? They went in there, tore it up, and then desegregation actually tore Black Wall Street down again.
It kind of tore us apart.
Yeah, because not only now, the white people are very happy to be included now, right? So they're very happy to be able to spend their money with the white people right now. So they spent their money with the white people, and you know what I mean, some people, you know, of course, some people spent the money with the black people, but at that point, everybody used to spend the money with the black people.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody spent the money over here because those people didn't spend their money over here either.
Mm-hmm.
So this thriving economy, because of our money was circulating within that economy. Now that economy is dead now because we taking the black dollar, putting it over here. The white dollar still isn't coming over here. So that thriving community, all those business owners basically no longer exist at that point. I think that was very interesting and well. I think I heard Dick Gregory say that too. Like the worst thing that happened to black people was actually desegregation.
Integration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
because everybody had their own.
Mm-hmm.
The black people had their own.
Mm-hmm.
Their money was circulating, but as soon as we integrated, there go the black money power.
And we'll probably get into that when we talk about education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
man, that's tough, man.
Tragic. It was tragic.
It was tragic. I mean, there's so much that I learned from this whole thing, and it just it's just so much I learned, man. It just made me reflect on like stuff that's happening today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dang, this still happened. like literally, like, and again, like, if we don't we don't know about it, it's gonna continue to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dang, it's still happening, dude. Like, some of this stuff is still happening.
Yeah, I recommend everyone look into it, read up on it. I know people might have heard about the Tulsa massacre, but I recommend you get the details on it because, man, when I was reading it, it was like, damn.
Yeah, it was sad, man. Like, literally, my throat was really closing up a lot. Like, God, dog, come on, man. I can't believe this happened to these people. Like, they really had to sit or run and watch their family members, their friends, their neighbors. And just imagine if you had to watch your neighbors just get killed. You know what I mean? By the hands of someone that you really want to make, have a good relationship with, but they don't want a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't hate them, but they hate you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no remorse. You can see that there's no remorse on their face as they're killing your neighbor or your mom, your dad, or your granddad, your cousins. I mean, we got to think about those types of things. And I definitely want to go over to Tulsa. They have a Greenwood Cultural Center that I would love to see. Love to visit that. They have a lot of information about Black Wall Street, a lot of information about what happened in those 17 hours of murder and carnage. I would love to go there and check it out for sure.
Yeah, what's remarkable is some black people, they stayed
Yeah.
even after
Mm-hmm.
even after all that happened. They stayed.
Mm-hmm.
Some fled,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some left, some moved
Yeah.
elsewhere, but some people stayed
Mm-hmm.
and tried to rebuild their homes,
Yep.
rebuild their businesses or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And it was sunny. Dang. So right after that happened, the ones that did stay to try to rebuild, they started making laws because that's what they do to us. They create laws that go against us. So they started making laws that made construction laws more stringent on how you have to build and what you can build. So
Systemic.
There's layers, man. So
Systemic.
I mean, and that's happening right now. Like that's happening right now. It's nothing different. They raising the laws, the tax laws go in to gentrify an area where white people want to live now, and they create these laws, change them, and make black people have to move. And then they go in there, and now the land is worth $1 million. And that's what they did then. They try to create these laws so the people of Black Wall Street and Greenwood couldn't build their houses back. So it's wild, man. People living in tent huts, tent cities.
Mm-hmm.
Because their livelihood is gone. Yeah, I mean, there's still descendants from that massacre that lives in Tulsa. It's wild. It's really wild.
It's wild.
Know that people still live there.
They're stronger than me because I couldn't.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, guess what happened? Now that area, those areas is worth billions of dollars now. Billions of dollars now.
Not surprised.
That's billions of dollars taken away from the black community. Systemic.
It's
$1 billion.
Institutionalized.
So, just when you have questions about when you think you can look in the mirror and really say like they should be doing better for themselves. No, we can't when you tear down a whole community once they build it. It's hard to come back from that.
It's extremely hard, very difficult.
Rules, regulations, like everything's against the black person. Everything. The laws, if we start to do a little bit better, the laws will get us. We know that there's a few of us that actually become very successful, play in the NFL, things like that, makes millions of dollars, but the common black person, they can't be where they should be because of systemic racism.
Mm-hmm.
Because those were all of those people weren't business owners that lived in that area. This happened everywhere. This happened in Chicago. They actually, in 1919, 2 years before that, they called that the Red Summer.
Right.
Because of so many race riots.
Right.
And that wasn't incited by black people. So many race riots. They said it was literally rivers of blood in these cities because of race riots. Systemic.
This is our history.
It's not.
We're not making this up. This is not a figment of our imagination. This happened.
Yes. So all the critical race theorists out there, I mean, you can keep that where you want to keep it, but you can't pretend. You can continue to pretend, and I hate that because they can say. A lot of people say what they just say stuff, and they want. And if the media starts to say it enough, if the media catches on and they say it, everybody else is going to start saying the same crap.
Right.
Right. They repeat the crap, and then it's true.
Right.
It's no real truth right now. It's really not in this day and time. It never was. There's no real truth. What's happening in Ukraine and Russia right now? Vladimir Putin's on TV saying he don't want war. You just bombed somebody, bro. What are you talking about? What do you mean you don't want war? You in war. You just bombed you just bombed cities, bro. What do you mean you don't want war?
If it smells like a conflict and it looks like a conflict,
what are you talking about? So, but some people believe him, even though they see that he getting bombed. He bombing Ukraine. Somebody might believe that he don't want war. He don't want war. You know what I mean? Like the Jalen, the Juwan Howard situation. You know they talk. I know Juwan Howard shouldn't have slapped the dude. You know, try to grab the dude by the hair or whatever he trying to do. But from that first news conference that the Wisconsin coaches had, and I know I'm jumping off topic.
No, that's cool.
But the first news conference, they started lying. Like we didn't just see him grab Juwan Howard.
Yeah.
Like he could have walked right past.
From what I saw, he got in Juwan Howard's face.
They said
it started. I don't know what he was saying, but he got in Juwan Howard's face.
They say that he escalated it. Juwan escalated it. No, Juwan was gonna walk right past him.
Juwan Howard, Coach Howard was just gonna keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
He was gonna keep it moving, and then dude got in his face, started talking all that jazz.
He didn't get in his face. He grabbed him.
He stepped in front of him, grabbed him. Try to yoke him up on some
So that wasn't escalating, but literally like nobody. Stephen A.
So when you say, "Oh, Juwan Howard shouldn't have slapped him," no, he should have. He should have. You should. Somebody pull up on you like you should slap him with the black hand side.
If he should have slapped somebody, it should have been the coach that grabbed him, not the assistant coach. I don't know what the assistant coach
I don't care who. Somebody need to get punched in the face. Somebody on Wisconsin coaching staff need to get punched in the face. But again, like, come get your boy.
Everybody, bro. Everybody's saying the leadership. He should have showed better. That's how they attack us, though. That's how they attack black people.
Listen, if
attack about leadership, like we can't lead. There's no way black people can lead. I mean, you can see that with the Flying Flores situation. Black people can't lead. Mm-hmm. We can't lead. That's what they want us to know. That's what they want to portray. I mean, we heard people on the TV saying that's the first thing they said about Juwan Howard. He can't lead. A leader shouldn't do. A leader shouldn't. How about that coach that grabbed him? That him being a leader.
Right.
That's not an example.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. You're not being a good example for your team, your players. You're not being a good example. So what he did was okay. So what he did was wrong, not being a good example. But what that white coach did
from
was
Wisconsin.
A great example.
Right.
You should, everybody you have a problem with, you should go and grab them.
Come on.
18, point guard. Next time somebody grab you, somebody say something you don't like, you go and grab them, choke them up, yoke them up, make them listen to you because you the master.
And that's the thing.
That's what you should do.
That's the thing. If they don't get us with the laws and all the institutionalized stuff, they try to get us with the cancel culture.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Then it's the court of public opinion.
Right. Right. The Baby.
Yep.
Dave Chappelle.
Yep. That's the thing, man.
Juwan Howard. If they don't get you one way, they're gonna get us. Yeah, they're gonna get us one way or another. If it's not, if it's not a Karen, it's a cancel culture.
Right.
They gonna get us one way or another.
Yeah, they want my boy. They wanted him fired.
They wanted him fired.
And then they didn't even give the Wisconsin coach a game. He got fined.
He got fined. But
he didn't get suspended. He didn't get
and he was the instigator.
He was the one.
He instigated the whole thing.
The whole thing. Like nothing would have happened if Juwan Howard would have been just walked away. Because that's what he was gonna do. Just, hey man. Just walked away. But he wanted to grab Juwan Howard. But Juwan Howard was the instigator. You can't make this stuff up, guys.
Tulsa happened 100 years ago. 100 years forward.
Yep.
Still dealing with similar shit.
Yep. Oh, it's not. You trying to kill him, basically. You trying to kill his career. He should
Still
be fired.
dealing with
Yes.
the same ish 100 years later.
It's crazy.
You guys look into it, read up on it, get as much information as you can on it, because like once you learn about the details, it's
Sickening, man.
It's tragic, man. It was tragedy what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it should never happen. It should have never happened to begin with. But, you know, that's the country we live in. That's the country we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people want to say, oh, you know, things changed. We made progress. It's, you know, it's hard for me to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard for me to believe that. I don't, you know, it's same difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same difference.
Yeah.
You know, things look a little different today, but we're still dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah.
So, like I said, read up on it, get the details, get as much information as you can, you know, learn our history, because they don't teach us this in school. Never heard about Tulsa in high school.
Mm-mm.
Or in junior high school.
Nope.
Not in the books, not in the history books, you know, and we got to wait 100 years later to get any kind of substantial information on it, because they tried to literally erase history.
Right.
So, you know, we're gonna be talking about a lot of other stuff, you know, in future episodes. So stay tuned. I think we're gonna head out now.
Yeah, we're gonna head out.
Yeah.
I ran it enough.
This stuff is important, so you know, we feel like we need to talk about it.
Hey man, if there's anything else you guys like to talk about, we got a lot in store. I mean, I know it's gonna be a lot of things that we may talk about that people may not want us to talk about, but we're gonna do it. It's not our opinion, guys. It's facts.
Yeah, we're just,
It's
again,
history.
we're about education, so we're just trying to educate people, as much people as we can. That's all it is. So follow us, share, like, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and on YouTube at The Formula Production. Follow us on Twitter at The Formula Pro. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. So just search The Formula Production. We should pop up. And find me at Speechless 417.
You can find me at Boot Leach. You know what it is.
Till next time, faith, dream, hustle, repeat.
That's the formula.